You know, there's one thing I love about this country is that freedom of speech also allows you freedom to be an idiot. And here's a perfect example of somebody just being an idiot. Geeks of Color writer Andres Cabrera recently made the bizarre claim that critics of the Walt Disney Company's atrocious Star Wars movies and television shows are white supremacists. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean you're a white supremacist. It just means you don't like it. So here we have Andres Cabrera, squad leader ace on X. A lot of people forget this, but there is a direct correlation between the white supremacist crowd and the unbridled hatred of the Star Wars sequels. Wrong. There's not. I saw this in real time as they scouted out the Star Wars fandom as a potential haven for spreading their message of hatred. Okay. Let me break this down for you, Andres. I'm not a fan of the prequels. Or I should say, the last trilogy. The prequels were okay. The last trilogy, not so much. Especially since the episode 7, Force Awakens, was a direct ripoff of episode 4, A New Hope, just with new characters taking the place of Han, Luke, and Leia. And Kylo Ren taking the place of Darth Vader, and Supreme Leader Snoke taking the place of the Emperor. So, growing up a Star Wars fan, seeing episode 4 numerous times since 1977-78, I'm not spreading a message of hatred. I'm just saying I don't like it. He next wrote, it started with the straightforward racist approach of hating on The Force Awakens because a black stormtrooper was one of the leads of the movie. When their target audience didn't fall in line with that blatantly racist take, they moved on to good old-fashioned misogyny. Okay. First of all, the only thing that anybody can say was racist about Finn being a black stormtrooper is the fact that they reduced his picture on the movie poster for China to be a background character, a background image, and made him really teeny tiny. That was the outrage. By the time you got to The Force Awakens, guess what? Stormtroopers weren't all clones anymore of Jango Fett. So it had nothing to do with his color. And for you to immediately go there just shows your own ignorance. But wait, there's more. The hatred of Rey became a massive point for SW channels as soon as TFA came out. Nearly every corner of SWYT featured this targeted campaign against Rey. This coordinated effort created similar talking points with different variations in order to spread across online spaces. He then proclaimed an important thing to remember is that these takes came from the same people, the same ones who were screaming and crying because there was a black lead in a Star Wars movie, came from the same spaces as the originators of hate movement against Rey. That's who we're dealing with. After Last Jedi, all hell broke loose. The message became even more effective with camouflage talking points that were made to seem more sensible and relatable while still harboring the same theme. They sugarcoated the brazenness of their contempt to appear more reasonable. Well, Andres, All I'm going to say to you in that respect is Rey was not a very good character, in my opinion, in the opinion of others. Rey was a replacement for Luke Skywalker. Because again, that's what The Force Awakens was. It was a new version of A New Hope. We had to have a female lead because that's what we do at Disney, to take the place of the male lead. And honestly, her character was not very good. Instead of using what George Lucas had laid out for Lucasfilm for episode 7, 8, and 9, Disney decided to go in a different direction, and that's the direction they went in, which was not very good. Now, granted, the movie made a lot of money. It's going to make a lot of money. It's Star Wars. But to say that it's misogyny is a flat out lie. It had nothing to do with misogyny. People just didn't like the character. And people cannot like a character. People can like a character. Interestingly, his claims that it's spreading as Disney pumps out more Star Wars television show on Disney Plus. The problem is the sentiment is still alive, growing within the Star Wars community. We saw it with the hatred against Reva and Obi-Wan, the too many female characters take on Ahsoka, and it goes on. It has become almost imperceptible from regular Star Wars fandom. Clearly, I'm not saying a dislike or disappointment in a recent Star Wars project automatically equates to the worst of the fandom. Yes, you are. That's exactly what you're doing in your thread. However, there is a distinct bad faith portion of the Star Wars fandom that has become effective in their messaging and branding as just speaking the truth. The truth is, online grifters have grown exponentially in recent years, and it's important to remember how a lot of them chose Star Wars as their pop culture watering ground in order to cultivate further hateful themes and capture the attention of an overly eager fan base. Finally, as evidence of these claims, he links to a Rewriting Ripley article that was thoroughly disproved by Nick Moore back in April of 21. Where it states there's been a lot of people who have pointed out the same issue, but I want to bring attention to this post by Rewriting Ripley that really gets into it. Novelist John Del Arroz reacted to Cabrera's claims point by point in a recent YouTube video, first noting that The Force Awakens sucked. Yeah, it wasn't very good. He explained it was a rehash of A New Hope, which we all know it was, that was poorly done without the emotion, without you caring about the characters, without a strong female lead who has nothing to do with anything, and some black guy. That's all it was. They literally just rebooted it with minorities and women in the lead just to do that. There was no plot to it. It was stupid. And he's correct. As for Ahsoka, he agreed with Cabrera's assessment that it featured too many female characters. And it did. You had the witches, you had Ahsoka, you had Sabine, you had the Padawan, and you had a lot of this. And now I'm going to talk a lot more of this. And now I'm going to talk some more. He then explained that Star Wars is supposed to be an action fighting show. And it is. Star Wars is supposed to have action and have fighting and combat. You guys didn't see that. That a show geared toward men and little boys, when you try to put a bunch of women in charge and things like that, you're trying to make a fighting action show geared towards women. That's not what women want. They want Barbie. Most women do not like Star Wars. He then concluded and said, so this is just men and women are different. And of course, when you tell your core audience, we don't want you, we don't want the men anymore, we're going to go capture this different audience. All you end up with is zero audience. And everybody just kind of not happy because you just made something that's targeted toward no one at the end of the day. And that's what's happened here. And these movies sucked. Later in this video, he addressed Cabrera's claim that Star Wars critics are cultivating hateful themes. You want to see who's hateful and who's bitter in this entire process? It's people like Andres. And that is correct. The people that scream about racist and white supremacist and misogyny and thisism and thatism are the ones they themselves who are guilty of those things. It's called Alinsky tactics. They don't want an alternative culture to rise up. They don't want anything different other than my corporate brand. Otherwise, they don't feel like they are in control. They don't feel like they have their community online. And that's what this is all about at the end of the day. It's really sad. It's really beta. And yes, this is very beta. This dude is not an alpha. He is a beta with a capital B. And it's really low energy, he asserted. So, I'm going to leave it up to you, the Star Wars fans out there. What do you think of Andres Cabrera's comments on X? Comment down below. Share your thoughts, share your feelings, share your opinion. While you're at it, please take the time to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video out there with your friends and family and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my content uploaded here to YouTube. And as always, thanks for watching. I will see you later.